Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome to this morning's conversion clinic. It is Thursday, November, February the 20th. I am thinking about my mom and her birthday's in November, so forgive me for that. But hey, good to see everyone's handsome and beautiful face in the screen. We've got some visitors into our space. We've got some regulars into our space, and all of us are converting at the highest level. I just want to welcome you to this space, man. I come super full of like inspiration this morning. I've been in hella Zoom meetings, had a Zoom call with a group in New Jersey, the Oz group, and then this big Flex Agent Accelerator space that I'm a part of. It's about 700 team leaders who meet on a regular basis about how we enhance our flex team. So I'm full of inspiration. If at all possible, you can turn your cameras on. We really appreciate you being present. We've got a lot to cover in a short period of time. So I'm going to make sure that we are staying on course, on track. Dan, did I make you co-host, bro? I did. Okay. Let's get straight to it. How many of you guys were in the space last Thursday? Show of hands, emoji in the screen. We're in the space last Thursday. I know Dan joined us.
He could be a good starting point to see.
Dan, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I love to hear production, but not in the midst of the conversion clinic conversation. So let's hope the blessing is locking something in. But we did an exercise last Thursday, to really break the ice and really get us to connect with self. And so if you recall what that exercise was, I really just brought it to your remembrance and attention of, called on three folks that you admire, their attributes, you respect their contributions into the world. And each of us had kind of, identified those three folks and then listed three attributes that each of them they're really portrayed in their lifestyle, in their mission, in their purpose for existence, and had you guys really tap into those. You guys recall that exercise? How many of you actually revisited that, gave it some deeper thought? Hey, Kelly and Ina, that's a new look. Okay. How many of you guys actually took some time to really reflect on that exercise, really thought about some of those people, delve deeper into some of their attributes, as it relates to that piece? Did anybody take it further than last Thursday? You just left it in last Thursday. Patrick did. That's a hand up. Okay, I know I did, and I was hoping that some of you all actually did the same thing. Just got real introspective, respective. Patrick, I'm going to call on you quickly, just to kind of uh, speak to one or two of the folks that you admired and one or two of the attributes that really resonated with you, if you don't mind. Patrick going once, Patrick going twice. Patrick
Hear
looks
me?
like he looks like his screen is frozen.
Yeah, no, I'm driving, so the internet's kind of whack, so I got to take off the video.
Do what you do, man.
Yeah. Now, real quick, I wrote down my brother and my mom for the 2 out of 3. My mom being, the characteristic or the personality of the unconditional love that she shows me, the reciprocity. That's something that I really value, and I feel like that's very important in our game, in the industry, right? We're in the business of relationship building that, and so that's why I admire that fully. And also my brother, I put him in there because he's he's a fighter. Perseverance is the word that every time I see him. And reason why I dove deep, or the way I dove deep, is by spending time with them. The last last week, kind of getting to know them more, kind of getting back to my roots. And from that kind of fueled some fire. I turned the heat a little hotter for me in a sense. You know what I mean?
That's powerful, man, and thank you for your contribution. I heard the word perseverance, and I don't know if you recognize it or not, Patrick, but you embody the attribute of perseverance. It manifests in your presentation. It manifests in your grind. It manifests in your growth. That you are persevering. So I thank you for that contribution, and you really hit the nail on the head. And is a segue into how I wanted to use this as an opening. Oftentimes, the attributes that we connect with in other people, that we experience, that we observe, that we admire, are those attributes that we really embody, right? They say kindred spirits connect to each other. Birds of a feather flock together. So, as an example, one of the folks that I admired was Dr. Martin Luther King, and he was a stance for social justice, for justice in its entirety, and he was a source of inspiration for me. And when I reflect a little deeper, I too stand for justice, fairness, equity. I too feel that I am a walking inspiration in my day-to-day activities, right? So the point of it is really identify when you identify the attributes that really resonate with you and other people, take a moment to self-reflect, and I guarantee you'll come to the conclusion that you embody those exact same attributes that you're attracted to. Yes, we're here for conversion, but you guys, we're human beings. And our the human aspects and attributes that we actually manifest in our day-to-day lives will have an impact on our production. You know why I say this? Oftentimes we are so consumed with doing doing functions, tasks. Instead, I would propose that we should be more consumed with being, being inspiration, being perseverance, being equity, being justice, being empowerment, being whatever those attributes are that you feel you embody. Let's put more emphasis on being that in action as opposed to being consumed with the doing. The question that I want to pose to you this morning is, how do your clients experience you? How do your friends experience you? How does your family experience you? Do they experience you as inspiration? Do they experience you as motivation, as perseverance, as empowerment, as equity? Do they experience you in that capacity? Do they experience you in your flow, your cadence? Speaking of your leads, are they experiencing inspiration? Are they experiencing equity? Are they experiencing understanding? Are they experiencing compassion in your buyer consultation, in your showings, in your initial conversation, in your recap video? Are the attributes that make up the unique being of you, Glenn, Aaron, Chris, Randy, Liz, Otis, Brett, Cortez, Dan, Princess? Are they experiencing the true essence of who you are? Because that's where your money is. Just a piece of reflection. Let's not do. I want to encourage you to be. And I'll tell you why. Here's an interesting data point. 70 to 80% of home buyers work with the first agent that they meet. Are you giving them the fullness of who you are as a human being? I love the silence that I hope that means that brains are ticking. Dan, we got some work to do this morning, brother. And I've got a proposition to put in front of all of you guys. Really hard shit is possible. Doing the hard stuff, it's really possible. I'm going to put a number in front of you that's going to stay in front of us as a team for the rest of this year. 10% conversion rate for each one of you. I saw some faces look down. I saw some faces look away. I saw some people go off of mute and put themselves back on mute. Yeah, that's possible. What does that look like numerically? Of every 10 leads, the connections every 10 leads that we're connected to, converting one of those 10 leads results in a 10% conversion rate. Does that sound impossible to any of you? Be honest. Does that sound impossible to any of you? That shit is more than possible. And it's applicable, it's accomplishable, it's attainable, not only by sequences and proven processes and art and science of converting. We'll get into all that. We'll do all that. We're going to get into some script role play. We're going to look over some numbers. And we're going to do that secondarily. primarily is the focus on you being, and then putting some hard shit in front of you and encouraging you that doing the really hard shit is possible. 10% conversion rate for each face that's on this screen. That's our goal, that's our direction, and that's what we will accomplish. Okay, Dan, I'm off my soapbox. We are on the field. Dan's going to get into some data presentation. We're going to talk about a few things as it relates to our specific Flex program and where we are as it relates to year to date. Well, not even year to date, but for the month of February, where we are, the direction that we want to direct your focus towards, so that we can ensure that we accomplish, our monthly goal, not Zillow's monthly goal, but our monthly goal as an internal team. And we're going to get into some more of the scientific work around converting. So without further ado, if you don't know Dan, which most of you should, let me introduce you to our lead scientist, my partner in crime, Dan, to give us some numbers, some statistics, some direction, and then we'll go straight into the work, Dan.
All right. Well, thank you, Vernon. Always a great start to these sessions here. So I'll bring it back from the inspirational and motivational and get us onto the hard numbers and everything, like Vernon said, and then we will get into script role play. So I'm going to be quick with these numbers so we can have as much time as possible to get into the tactics here. But I wanted to share a couple of things for everyone. First is the tremendous progress that the team has made in terms of our numbers and our stats. So for the month of January, our goal for us as a team for number of sales was 10. We've been setting that goal 10 a month, hit that nice cadence. Our goal from Zillow was 8.2, but our goal for ourselves was 10. For the month of January, we actually hit 12 deals in contract. So not only we blew Zillow's goal out of the water, we blew our own goal out of the water. We were at 146% for the month of January. For February so far, our goal, once again, 10 deals as a team, right? If we can hit 10 every month as a team, keep our lead flow about in the same range, we'll be in really, really good shape. So far for February, we are at 8 deals already. So our Zillow goal is 7.7 for the month. We've already passed our Zillow goal. We don't care about that, right? We care about our goal, 10, exceeding what Zillow's expecting of us. So we only got 2 more. So challenge I throw out to everyone, we got 8 more days in the month. And I guarantee you at least 2 people in this room are going to have those 2 more deals that are going to get us past our 10 mark for this month. So who's it going to be? Who in this room is going to get 1 more deal to me? All right, good. You've claimed it. I love it. Right. So think about that. Who's going to get those 2 deals into contract? Because if we keep hitting those 10, we've already been in talks with Zillow to increase opportunity. We just met with them yesterday, and it looks like our lead flow is going to go up probably like 20-25% for the month of March. And for the month of February, another 20-25% as well. So the last couple of months, it's been lower, just kind of seasonality, but they're already super impressed with how we've been doing these last several months and are allocating more leads for all of us. We are only going to take on as many leads as we are going to be able to comfortably convert at that range for our target, right? So what the issue we had last year was we took on a bunch of leads. We were like, yeah, more. And we got ourselves in trouble because we were getting 350 leads a month and it was just way too much. So as long as we as a team are hitting our own benchmarks for where we want to be with conversion, 5% over the long term, like Vernon said, a lot of people, hopefully all of you at or above 10%, that's what we want to be hitting, not as many leads as possible. Right? Just like we have the conversations with all of you of, let's get a certain number of leads, digest those, work them, close them. We take the exact same approach for ourselves as a team. It's like we're only going to take on as a team what we can comfortably convert, because we don't want to put any of you in a position where you're getting more than you can handle. Also, want to say a big thank you to everyone who has been, who've been updating lead stages, who've been working on booking those appointments with clients. Our answer rate is up. Our appointment set rate is at 63% right now, which is the highest that it's been in several months. Our appointment met rate is up at 40%, which also is the highest that it's been in a really long time. So all of our stats are trending in the right direction. Please continue updating those lead stages as soon as you get a customer on the phone, as soon as you book the appointment, as soon as you meet with them, as soon as you're writing the offers, because we're starting to see that pass through in the numbers. And again, That is what Zillow is looking at when they're deciding who gets more leads when we've got additional lead flow. And then that is what we're looking at, when Vern's sitting down to do one of those one-on-ones to say, all right, you hit your 15 leads. Are you ready for another 15 leads? It is, are you setting appointments? Are you meeting with customers? Are you submitting offers? So make sure you're updating those lead stages. We're seeing you guys do that. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with everyone here. We're going to take a look at our stats again for this. Yeah, our scorecard here. So if you haven't accessed this, make sure you're getting in. The scorecard numbers are were updated since the last time. They're updated every single week. So we can see there's a little bit of shifting around in terms of Vernon's call out. I think, Vernon, you're speaking from the place of experience in terms of conversion at an 11% conversion rate here, but we've got several people who are above our 5-6% target for the last 6 months. So I'm going to call these folks are our top third. So take a look at this real quick, see where your name is at. I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to post it in the chat as well afterwards, so you can see where your standing is. This is our middle third right here. Take a look, see where your name is at, see where your score is at. The really simple answer to this, if you want to get your name moved up on this list, if you've got numbers that are in the red or in the yellow, move those up. And it's really hard to get to the top of this list if you don't have a green number in this conversion column. That's it, right? That's really the simple answer. I want to give a special recognition. Actually, I think Blessing's on here. One of the few people that's up towards the top here with a 0% conversion for current pipeline leads, but everything else is so much in the green. She's submitting offers for 11% of her customers that she's got through, 53% met with rate, 84% appointment set, 100% ALM rate. Really great top funnel stats. So Blessing, very nicely done. Your top funnel pipeline is looking excellent, and that's going through in a very high submitting offer rate. So hopefully we'll see that conversion get up into the double digits as well. The bottom third here. So again, simple answer on this. If your number is in this bottom third, look at these numbers in the middle. Conversion is going to be the biggest thing, but setting appointments, submitting offers, using ALM, picking up the phone. Vernon, anything you want to say about performance that we're looking at here?
No, not at the moment. Not per this conversation, no.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm going to paste this link in the chat. It's also in the Zoom channel. I'm sorry, it's in the Slack channel. I pinned that as a message, so you can go and look at the pinned message board. I put a video walkthrough of how to read and interpret this scorecard, so you can actually see and know what all these different tabs are. You can see what the information is relaying to you. So if you've got questions about, am I receiving leads? What shift am I on? What shift is on this week? All that information is in the scorecard there. So anyone have any questions about that scorecard stuff? Because I'm going to shift gears. We're going to go on to script role play.
I don't have any questions about the scorecard stuff, but I do have an inquiry around everyone. We've got 8 days left in the month. I want you to pay attention to the leads that are in your pipeline that have lead statuses of appointment met to showing homes. For the next 8 days, I'm not saying completely disregard the rest of your pipeline, but as it relates to conversion and performance over the next 8 days, hone in on those leads that you have statuses of appointment met and showing homes, and then really delve deeper into that pipeline to really determine what needs to happen to move the needle slightly down the process of the conversion equation. For 8 days, that's your focus. Appointment mets, of course, if you're absorbing new leads and plugging them into your equation, obviously, but focusing on those that you've met with and those that you are showing homes, and really delve into how do you need to move that needle slightly, a decimal point, to lead them to result in performance conversion. That's what I got. Go ahead, Dan.
All right. So any other questions from anyone? Going once, going twice. All right. If you do have questions, shoot me a message or Vernon a message on Slack. I'd be happy to answer those. All right. So what we are going to get into here is our script role play just like last time. I'm going to start us off with a call. We're going to listen to this as a group. We're going to do a little bit of debrief and deep dive on this, and then we're going to break out into the breakout rooms, and everyone's going to practice roughly with a similar scenario. So like we did last time, as we're listening to this call, be prepared to contribute when we come back off of mute. We should be listening for ALM. Did they book the appointment? Did they ask about the location the person's interested in? Did they ask about what motivated you to, other homes that they're interested in? Were there lines or instances in the call that you heard a challenge or an objection that was dealt with particularly well? Were there any phrases that you're like, "Ooh, that was really good. I want to borrow that. I'm going to take that for the future." Were there any objections or obstacles that the client was presenting? And if so, how was that dealt with? And then last, were there any opportunities for improvement that this agent could focus on? Okay, so again, ALM, what things went well, what were any challenges or objections that the client had, and how are those dealt with? And then were there any opportunities for improvement? So I'm going to tee this one up. It's about a 5-minute call. Brandy, this is one of yours, so we can. This is a good one. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in this call, so we will tee it up. I promised I picked this one because there were a lot of things I liked in this call. So give me a thumbs up if you can hear the audio. Last time I had some challenges with being able to share audio. So let me hit play here in a second, and let's see if this goes.
Thank you. We're connecting you to a local agent now.
Hi, Joshua.
Yes, hello.
Hi, it's Brandy. I show that you're interested in the 111 SC Avenue in Richmond.
Well, I don't know yet. I mean, I'm mildly interested.
Okay. What has you interested about the property?
Well, it seems like it's a pretty good size for the asking price currently, and it has room for. I work from home, and I have like a business that needs some storage, so it looks like that might also be something available through that property. Okay, so it's for personal business use. It's piqued your interest. Are you looking at just this specific property, or just properties in general that can fit that need for your business? Well, the reason why this one's interesting is because it's been on the market for a while, and it just had a fairly significant price adjustment, and so that's basically what's piqued my interest in this one. So if there's other ones that are similar to that, then sure, why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so tell me, when would you like to see this property?
Well, you know what? I would be most interested right now. I'm interested in seeing it. I currently live in Oakdale, so that's about like a 2-hour drive, which isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah,
but
I'm very familiar with where you're at. Okay, yeah. So you need a little bit of time, anyways, for planning.
Well, not really. I mean, I could come see it this weekend, no problem. But what I am interested in is it seems like I need to find out more information about it. Like, I think I read in the description that it was red tagged. I needed to kind of understand what that means, and if there's any other kind of like holds or any weird other stuff going on with the property.
Absolutely. Let's see. Give me 1 second, and I can see if I can bring up more information and availability from the property. That's what would be important. Okay, so if you would, for touring the property, you would be available for the weekend if everything looked great?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So why don't I do this? Let me gather the information and see the availability for the property and get you all the information on it. When would be a good time for me to give you a call back, so then that way I can get the details on the property showing, the availability, and then I can also give you all the fine print details as far as the property.
Yeah, I mean, the best way to do that would be to email me anytime you want, because I communicate best through email.
Through email, okay. And that's the Josh at advancedpaystudios.com?
Perfect, yes.
Okay, great. Let me go ahead and get that information. I have here noted that you're available for this weekend if it's available for show and everything plays out correctly based off of the information for the property. And then in the meantime, what I'll do is I'll also see if there's similar properties, especially are you looking just in that specific location, or are you?
No, pretty much anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah, pretty much anywhere. Yeah.
Okay. So this type of property, but location can be, based off of price and things like that.
I would say price is probably the determining factor.
Okay. What would you say what's your minimum budget? Or I guess there's really not such thing as minimum budget, but what's your cap at? So then that way, when I'm looking for similar properties, especially if I'm able to find some that you can view,
yeah,
based off of your traveling.
I don't want to give you an impossible task, but to be honest, I'm also looking out of state. So for like 400K is probably like the max is where I would go and around, which I know doesn't give you a lot of working room, but it is what it is. Oh no, that's perfectly fine. That way, once I get the information, I'll just plug in really quick to see if I have any, for one, off the market properties that I know of, or anything similar that pops up. So then that way I can just give you all the information. You have everything there while you're looking anyways and while I'm doing that. So I will definitely touch base with you shortly by email and get you all the information. And then if you would like to schedule that tour, then I have here that you're available for the weekend, so then you can just confirm. That sounds amazing.
Awesome. Well, I will keep in touch. You will get an email from me. My email is brandy@fastagents.com. So super simple. So otherwise, I will talk to you later on today.
Thank you very much, Brandy.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great day.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Brandy, I don't know if you were in a spot where you're able to take yourself off mute and talk, but if you are, I'd love to give you first stab at what did you hear listening back to your own call? Are you able to talk?
Yeah, I'm in the waiting room, so this is kind of awkward.
Oh, don't worry about it if you can't talk right now. You're welcome to type up any notes that you've got too, but do you want to?
No, it's okay. I do not like listening back to myself.
It is no one really does. It is an uncomfortable experience, but it is tremendously valuable. So what did you hear?
Well, what's funny about this call is it took me off guard because it came at 7:00 in the morning, and I legit was driving from the gym. So I was like trying to catch my breath and the thinking and stuff. And that's why I paused a lot, because I was trying to buy myself time to get to a stopping point. But yeah, no, who put that is so cringe. It is cringy to listen to yourself. Oh, I have to go.
Okay. All right. Thank you for letting us listen to your call then. So to the rest of the group, what did we hear on that call? Did we hear ALM? Did we hear customer challenges? And if so, how were they dealt with? What things went well? What opportunities for improvement did we hear? Go ahead and take yourself off mute if you want, or use that hand raise emoji.
Okay, let's be more specific. Let's be more specific. Did she set an appointment?
She did not set an appointment. It wasn't a nailed down appointment. While she got the availability for the showing, there wasn't a specific time and date to meet or to show the property. And the one thing is the conversation there's several moments in this. Like, I wonder if this is a real person, because the lead was a real person. And Verna, if I'm hijacking the conversation, let me know. But from the very first question of in the very, very beginning, instead of like, when would you like to see the property then, it opened up the conversation for everything that he was looking for. And then it was him talking more so. And now that we understand, she was driving and she's trying to catch her breath, she wasn't in control of the conversation from the very beginning. And while he was giving her the information with his search criteria, he had more questions about the property. And one thing to like get to the appointment is to set the appointment and then go through ALM, gets them moving with you at your flow. It seemed like he just had more control of the conversation.
Okay, so that's great feedback, Blessing, and thank you for your contribution. Here what we learned from that is very simple. We heard some objections. We heard some inquiries around the specifics of the property. Okay, what we want you all to do as relates to setting the appointment is hear the objection, but then redirect the conversation back to setting the appointment. Okay, we got an idea that he's available on the weekend. We didn't get an idea of what day of the weekend he is available and what time on that day he is available as it relates to nailing down specificity to set the appointment. That's the first thing. So that would be
so let me jump in here. I'd love to hear from the group if anyone's got, like, how would you nail down, like, what phrasing could you use in a situation like that to nail down an appointment, even when it's kind of ambiguous?
I would have said that I would have set the appointment and just set it and told him that I will get back with him with all the information that he was looking for. So I'll write that down, but I would still set the appointment.
Right.
For
Yeah,
Saturday.
I think, yeah, that's totally fine. Of like, let's pencil in this date. And I'm sorry for it interrupted you in mid flow. What you have for your second half?
No, man, that's perfectly fine.
Cool. All right, Brett, what do you got?
I think the verbiage that I like the most on that is, that's a great question. Let me look into it. And when we meet, we can certainly go over that.
Yeah.
It acknowledges that you heard them and that you're going to do something about it, but comes back to when we meet or let's get together. I think I could tell she was caught off guard because it was just kind of like a hello greeting. And I think like it's really important to have that intro dialed so that they know that you're locked in, to the point where like we could wake you up in the middle of the night and give you the phone and you could just recite it, because that's just kind of how I think it should be dialed in. But then she connected with him really well, to the point where I think she could have been like, do you want to just grab coffee in like 20 minutes? And he probably would have been like, sure. Like he was totally down.
I agree that the rapport building connection on that call was really good. Yeah, I think you're totally right. That like the two of you seemed to hit it off. I mean, he seemed like also just like the super, super nice guy on the phone too. But that's a really good point, Brett, that like that's a viable option as well if you're near Oakdale or if he's in the area or whatever. Patrick, what do you got? What we hear on that call?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say one thing that really helps me, because I do have this problem too, is I have a problem talking. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Patrick. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say I had a problem too of pausing. One thing that's been helping me out is literally letting them know. For example, you're just getting out of the gym. You sound very out of breath. I'm letting them know, like, I'm sorry if I sound out of breath. I'm just actually getting out of the gym. Let me get situated in the car real quick. That gives me enough time to kind of just reel it back a little bit, and they kind of get it too. It's like, oh, they're just getting ready too as well. So it humanizes you. And I feel it helps me out, just instead of you trying to hide it and trying to play it off like, oh, I'm not tired, I'm professional, I'm here in the office type of stuff. Like, no, you were moving, let them know what you were doing. But I find that it helps me out.
Yeah, and you can even spin that as a benefit point where it's like Zillow doesn't just connect you with a call center; they connect you with local agents, so you get connected with someone, and like we're out in the field all the time. So like, yeah, I'm at the gym. I'm a real person out in this community. So did we hear location? Did Brandy nail down the location? What other are you interested in other properties, or what areas are you searching in? Did she nail that on the call? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on the screen if we heard it. Did we hear
It
location?
seemed like the location was a lot of different places. So it was more like the
Yeah.
location was a dollar amount opposed to just like I want to be in Hercules or wherever, you know. He was just looking at a price point anywhere.
Yeah, and she did a great job of honing in on that, asking about finding additional properties. So I'd say 100% on the location question, really honed in on that. And then motivation, did we hear about what his motivation is for kind of what he's generally looking for in a home? Yeah, Carol said she repeated it twice. Price and storage were his main concerns, right? He was reaching out for like really, really price sensitive, under 400,000 was the main thing that he was looking at. And that was what motivated him to reach out about this home. Any other thoughts or contributions on this call? Anything that you heard that you thought went really well? Any other opportunities for improvement? Going once, going twice.
Brandy, it looks like,
yeah,
looks like Brandy's out of the space now. So, Brandy, if you can unmute yourself, if you could share with the group, what was the follow-up cadence like? Brandy? Oh, there you go.
Okay. I'm walking out to my car now.
Okay.
So I ended up meeting him on Zoom. We did establish, I did a buyer's consult with him. He's not a very serious buyer or anything like that. He was on Zillow and it just piqued his interest a little bit. But we've had great connection and talk since then. Yeah, it was nice to hear the phone call back. And I'm definitely going to utilize that, Patrick. I do that most of the time, but I think that one just totally caught me off guard. Because sometimes I'll have the kids with me and I'll just say, excuse me 1 second, let me get to a quiet spot. On other phone calls I do too. So, but that was a good thing to remember. Like I can still be doing other things like the gym and stuff. So that's great.
Okay. Another question that maybe you can share with the group in terms of the specifics of that communication. Was there insight that you discovered about the property that you had relayed to him as to why you weren't able to schedule the appointment and meet him at the property?
So it was a red tagged property that I discovered later on. So they weren't doing actually showings. It's a wrapped property and has like security and stuff. So no, I should definitely have booked it and then just found out that information later.
I think, Brandy, it sounds like you got an appointment with him though still, right? You got a Zoom call. Can you tell us about how you managed to do that? Because that's not an easy thing to do.
I just messaged him back and I said, oh, would you like to hop on a quick Zoom call? I can go over the property with you. And I asked him if he was, what kind of buyer he was. And it was the first time home buyer. So I kind of just hopped on, went through like the buyer's consult and then gave him property details.
That's amazing. I mean, that is textbook for if you can't show the property as an alternative, get them on Zoom, meet them, right? That Zoom call absolutely still counts as appointment met. You met with that customer. It does not have to be at that house. It could be at a coffee shop, it can be on Zoom, and you still did a buyer's consultation. So that is a fantastic recovery from a property that was basically unshowable. Okay, so Brandy, thank you again for letting us listen to your call and for your feedback on it. And I hope it goes really well for your customer. And I know you said he's not really a serious buyer, but I would think of that instead as he's a 6+ month buyer. You've just filled your pipeline for late 25, early 26 for when that person becomes a serious buyer, right? It's all about filling your pipeline. I just want to call out a couple of things that I heard from you on this call too, that I think you did very well. You asked, what interested him in the property or if he's interested in seeing it. And he said, well, I don't know yet. And you dug in on that. I think that was actually really nice versus immediately asking for the appointment. There's only a few times where I think it makes sense to not immediately jam in and book that appointment on the first sentence. But the fact that he said, oh, I don't know yet, that was curious enough that it was worth digging into. And you did, you listened and you heard his hesitation and went in on that and then circled back to trying to book the appointment. Digging in on price, your enthusiasm and tonality really matched. He was a super excited guy and like really easy, nice guy to talk to, and your tonality and your enthusiasm matched his level very, very nicely, which is not always an easy thing to do. It did sound like you pulled off the road and you were able to get the information up in front of you, like which you said, a 7 a.m. call can be very frazzling. And so I think it sounded like initially you were a little scattered, and you got the call and it was like, oh my gosh, but you just went for it, and I think it turned out really well. To everyone else in the group, if you didn't see the message in Slack, Zillow recently made a change where they are routing lead calls now by the consumer's time zone, not by our time zone. So if you've got feedback on that, shoot a message in the Slack channel. Don't DM me about it, but just send it back in that thread. But if you don't want to get calls off hours, use the self-pause feature so that you're paused during that time. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to break out into our breakout rooms. We should have enough time at least for 2, probably 3 people to rotate through for script role plays. And what I want you all to focus on is a situation like this one that we heard with Brandy and her customer, where the property is complicated, right? There's some reason that we may not be able to go out and tour that home right on the get-go like a normal one. It might be something where it's red tagged, like this one with Brandy, where there's like complications. The consumer has a lot of questions about the home before they want to go out and see it. It might be tenant occupied, so that we can't immediately, book the appointment to go out and see it, or see it for sure. Or you might see that there's 24-hour notice, or the customer is out of state or out of area, but there's some complication that makes the property difficult to show. All right, and I will rely on the people who are the customers to make up a detail about why that is. But your goal, again, try to book the appointment, location, motivation, build rapport and relationship with the clients. So I'm going to break everyone into groups. Vernon, I'll put you into one to lead one. I'll lead another, and then anyone want to volunteer to lead a third group? Because we'll do 3 different groups here, and Elias isn't with us today. Vernon, you want to volunteer someone to lead a group?
Yeah, let's go with Brett.
Brett, all right, you're going to lead a group. So we'll go ahead, we'll break out, jump straight into it, and then come back and debrief for a couple minutes. All right, Vernon, either room 1 or room 2?
Doesn't matter.
All right, why don't you go ahead and go for room 1. See you on the other side. Princess, I'm curious from your perspective for David's call. Well, actually, we'll just go through it. We can let everyone get back together. Apologies, I did not look closely enough at the clock, so I know we're a minute over time here. We can do a real quick debrief on how that went, and then get you guys all out of here. Vernon, why don't you take it? Vernon, going once.
Great.
Any takeaways from your room?
Great session. Handled her objections well. Lisa took her first ever ALM call. She did fantastic. D. Bledsoe gave her the freaking business, and she just was able to redirect. I mean, he didn't give her much to work from. About location, motivation. That's the streets, my favorite fruit. That was his motivation. And location, as long as it's got an orange tree in the front, I'm good. So she just really booked the location, booked the appointment. She did well. She handled her objection well. Glenn handled his objection well. Blessing was in Florida. They were talking at 5 a.m. And so he was able to set the appointment through video tour, meet the appointment metric through video tour, and so forth. So great job with the both of them. We didn't have enough time to get into any more. And we're over time now, but thank you guys for your patience. It was a good session.
Perfect. Brett, rapid fire, anything from your room?
Yeah, we had Otis as the agent, and I chose him because I know he has a way with words, and it's very strong when it comes to him understanding the value he's bringing to the table. And so Chris was on the other end of that call, and Otis handled it perfectly. He said he didn't want to sign anything, and he just walked him through. I think the best part of what he said about signing anything was he was like, look, this is just a touring agreement. I'll actually have it expire like an hour after we meet, just so that I can go ahead and open the door for you. And if we decide we want to move forward from there, we can certainly put a more formal agreement together.
That's great.
And I hadn't heard that before. I usually do like 7 days, but like to really ease their concern, like, look, this is just so that we can go see it at this time, which was the appointment time, and then it'll go, we can go from there. And it was great way to lock in the appointment, make sure he understood that he's not really trying to tie him down or have him sign something he's not comfortable with, but just so that he could actually help him do what he wanted to do, which was go see the property.
Love it. Love it. I think the good takeaway that we heard from all these practice sessions and in our room as well is even if there's complications with the property, just book the appointment to get a time locked in and circle back with the customer. Assume that you can get the appointment, and a Zoom call, a buyer's consultation, whatever it is absolutely an appointment, right? If you can't tour the property, 99% of the time, they're not going to buy that home anyway. Most Zillow buyers don't buy that first property. So don't get too focused on that. Otis, rapid fire final thoughts, and we'll get everyone out of here.
Oh, I just wanted to say, I have a buddy here. He said he knows you.
Hey, man.
Hey, Mitchell, what's going on?
How you doing, man?
Good to see you. Good to see you.
God, my God, you look like the day I met you, other than you have a beard. I mean, a little bit. You look so damn young.
He was listening. We were listening in, and he was listening on some of the calls. He thinks what we're doing is fantastic, Coach V and Coach D. So I was hoping that maybe we can get him in as a guest sometime. I think he has really great insight, and he has a lot of great stuff to talk about our call. So maybe we can get him in sometime in the near future. He has a book coming out. We're gonna have some events at the headquarters. Bunch of good stuff. So I just wanted to say thank you to you guys for allowing us to crash.
Love it. Love it. Good to see you, Mitchell. All right, Vernon, you want to take us off the field here?
We apologize for holding you over the allotted time. Thank you for your contributions. Go crush this weekend. Focus on your appointment met to showing home metric segment. Looking forward to seeing you guys convert over the weekend. Until next Thursday, grace, peace, and blessings.